Hello, welcome to episode 20 of Authentic Hustle, everyone. My gosh, 20 episodes, guys. It is unbelievable. And I
20.
think it really has flown by. And, when we started this show, we just kind of committed, let's do 10 and just see what happens, see how we feel about it. It's amazing, actually. If you guys look back, it's amazing how much has changed since our very first episode. It's pretty unbelievable. Hold on here. So only about 1% of podcasts make it to episode 21, which means hitting episode 20 puts you firmly in elite company. Here's the breakdown. 90% of podcasts never get past episode 3. Most quit before finding their rhythm. Of the remaining 10%, 90% leave by episode 20. And that leaves just 1%, some 20,000 shows that publish 21 plus episodes, earning the title top 1% of podcasters.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, here we are. When I do remember in the beginning talking, how many should we do? Should we do 3, 5, 10? What are we going to do? When do we review? And here we are at 20. So,
yeah.
Congrats.
It truly is a little bit hard to believe at this point that we've come this far already. But, it's pretty incredible, too. I would have never thought that this is what we've done. But on the other hand, why wouldn't we have, right?
No, why wouldn't we? That's right. What were we thinking?
Right. Why wouldn't we have? It's been a lot of fun. Vijay, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I never had Authentic Hustle on my 2025 calendar ever. I never thought about it. But we always had this kind of thought of like, what can we do? What can we do better? Because you were doing BDP, I was doing Pathway. What else can we do? And everything starts with a thought, right? So thoughts leads to action and action leads to results, right? So that's what it had. And we had this thought, I think, mutually, and we started talking, I think around December or Jan, probably. I could be wrong. But today we have 5 months in Colin already, and like we are like 20 shows. It's unreal, actually, how it all spanned out. So I'm super grateful, man. Like, thank you, Colin and Kelly. So this has been a fantastic ride so far.
Yes. Well, and I think the thing is that we all wanted to try this live thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, a few of us have podcasts already, and we're like, hey, like, what about live? Should we try something live?
Yeah.
Like, I think we all understand the power of video and how important it is in interacting with people and building communication and building trust and just having a cool connection with people that you wouldn't really see coming had you not gone that route. I did also see like a massive trend shift into video for 2025. I've just been seeing it, obviously at that point I'd interviewed many influencers across LinkedIn who were basically saying, Kelly, like video is king. It's absolutely king. And you have to be brave enough to put yourself out there. And yet it's still so scary. It's so funny because we were just talking, yesterday in one of my coaching sessions, we were talking about LinkedIn and building a personal brand and how important it is and how important that video is in that mix. And yet I'm still afraid on camera. And I think maybe that's a little bit surprising for a lot of people. My podcast has hundreds of episodes now. I've been on camera many times. I've been interviewed many times. And yet on that one-to-one, pulling up the phone, having that conversation with myself through the camera, Jesse Shuchuk would say, transcending the lens. I've really struggled with that aspect of sharing myself.
I agree. And breaking into today's topic and 20th episode, our topic was for today, guys. We picked a topic like a couple of days in advance, just for fun. We are just trying to spin around the format and whatnot. So today's topic is, should business owners be influencers? That's today's topic. Who wants to kick it off first?
You know what? Yeah, I love it. Colin.
No, Kelly, you go
ahead. Of course. You know what? Let's start this story where we all started in this conversation this morning, saying that none of us set out to be influencers, right? Not Vijay, not me, not Colin. When I first started the business development podcast, what I recognized was that there was a gigantic gap in the business development field for new people and entrepreneurs in general, right? Nobody like in the business development specific field was sharing their information with the world, was telling people how they did it. And I noticed that even within the industry, they wouldn't talk to each other. Like business development specialists weren't talking to each other and even sharing that information. So everything regarding business development was basically happening in a silo. There were no books for us. Every book was made for sales or marketing. Business development fell outside the guidelines for that. Yeah, it has aspects of both, but it is very different. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I've been in this a long time. At the point, it was 15 years. I'm just going to jump into this and share as much information as I can for business developers out there. For me, for young Kelly, who got into this at 23 and had no idea what he was doing and had no resources to help him. And over time, it built reputation, it built trust, it built community, and it built a personal brand. And guys, I had no idea that that's what I was doing. And I hate to sound so naive and so dumb about it, but even until like, let's call it 2024, I don't think that I was truly sure that that's what was happening. But it was through multiple interviews with people like Amelia Sordell and other, personal brand thought leadership people who were like, holy crap, that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm making a gigantic impact by simply sharing my knowledge with the world and being brave enough to do it, either through the podcast or just through the posts and stuff that I was doing on LinkedIn. And it's interesting because I'm sure there are people who get into this with the idea of creating a personal brand, but I think for me, it was more something I didn't set out with that intention, but now it's definitely something that I understand has happened. And what it really comes from is just providing value to the world.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead,
Vijay.
Colin. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. Yeah. So I think of it this way. People don't buy products. People buy stories, trust, connections, relationships. If you're a business owner or a leader per se, like an actual leader, not just one that you call a leader, somebody that's actually leading something, leading a business, leading a venture, that type of thing. I think you need to be an influencer, right? Because that relationship is influencing what's going to happen, right? People believe in you. People believe, I'll say for me, I want people to believe in me, in what I do. If they believe in me and what I do, I'm influencing that. And that's making a difference. I'm not going to be influenced by somebody, just promoting something, I guess. And actually, Kelly, we were speaking earlier today just about, and I'll put it out there, Catalyst Club, right? How do we get it out there more? How can we get it shared more? How can we get more people to join up? It has to come from you.
Yes.
Right? I can reshare it, but it has to come from you. People will trust you. The relationship is between you and them. So regardless, you're going to have to put it out there, 1,000 times over and over and over and over, and maybe reframe it, rephrase it, that type of thing, because that's where the influence is coming from.
Oh, I find that an interesting prospect. And I actually agree with you initially. But if you look at any movement, one person can't start a movement. One person can't sustain a movement, and one person can't grow a movement. I don't care who you are and how much money you throw at something. If the world isn't going to talk about it, whatever you're doing isn't going to grow. You need the people who are receiving value to tell someone. And, when I look at the business development podcast as an example, Colin, that show wouldn't have grown if people hadn't have been like, hey, have you heard this show that Kelly's putting out helping business developers and entrepreneurs around the world? Right? I can't do that. I can say it 1,000 times till I'm blue in the face, but I can't convince anybody to tell their friends and family. They have to want to do that. And that is the power of exponential growth of any movement, any podcast, any influence you want to have. It all comes down to you have to provide enough value for people to tell other people, because I don't care who you are and how much money you have, you're not going to grow it alone. Anything.
True. And I guess that's where it comes down to a referral based world as well, right?
Yes.
You're going to be referred based on that. Catalyst is going to be referred based on that as well. But it still comes down to you're the influencer, right? And
Yeah.
I still tried to own my concept.
Right.
Sorry.
But that plane didn't land.
Well, it's funny, right? Because what is a personal brand? I think most people don't actually know what that is, right? They look at an influencer and say, oh, that person's got a cool brand, or they're building something. The brand is not what I say it is. If I show up and I say Catalyst Club is this, or Kelly Kennedy is this, right? I can shape maybe what people think about me, but I can't shape that long term. Eventually, people will come to their own conclusions based on my day-to-day actions and the work I'm doing in the world, right? Your personal brand, you have the ability to shape it if you so choose, and everybody should so choose. Just going to start there and say everybody should start to think about, what do I want the world to think about me? What impact do I want to leave in the world? But a personal brand isn't what you say about yourself. It's what other people say about you when you are not in the room.
Yeah, that's deep.
That's right. That's right. I mean, the more I think about social media, I'm not a big fan of the word influencer, actually, because it has a lot of different connotations to it. People see it differently, but if you're just out there to help people and just serve them, like they call different words like servant leader. I don't want to throw any of these words, actually, but at the same time, if you're there to help people and if you're able to find your voice that way, and I think people resonate because people are there. Why should they scroll the feed? Why should they look at your post? Why should they like your post? Why should they even reshare your post, right? I'm beyond humbled for the recent post that I did for the citizenship, right? I didn't know any person, like I was not active on social as much 5 years ago, 6 years ago. When I came to Edmonton, I didn't know a single person, Colin, like not a single person, right? I started showing up for people and started engaging with the business community and whatnot. 29 people reacted to that post. It's unreal, actually. I'm beyond touched. And thank you, everyone who reacted and commented on that post. Thank you so much. But I think if you can just show up for people, people will show up for you. That's what it is. And building a brand or not, I make money. So those are the secondary part. Those are all the byproducts. Yeah. So I don't show up to like, okay, make $1 today. I don't show up to, if there is anything I can help, if there is anything I can share that is useful for you. It's not about me, actually. Though, I mean, a few years ago, I realized that it's not about me at all. Yeah. It's about the person reading it. It's about the person consuming it. So if there is one person who I can affect and impact from that post, that's great. That's fantastic. So, but in between we have to also do the marketing and stuff, which is a tough thing. But I'm here to help, and that's my number one goal.
You know, something I just read as we're going through it when I was looking into this, an influencer is a trusted voice in a niche or industry, right? So that's why it is very important to be that influencer. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, because the people that you're influencing, right, that's who you're attracting. Also, some of the platforms, social media, podcast, YouTube, blog, you're impacting behaviors is what you're doing. Right? And you're causing them to change. And so like your post on your citizenship, right? Because I reposted it and it got a lot of attention. And what I liked about yours, more so the authenticity of it. And then I did read the comments, right? For that many people to stop and write a comment, you have impacted their lives.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. I was going to say, Colin, you're absolutely on point there. This is a reflection of who you are, Vijay. Not everybody could make that post and have so many people give a shit about it. It's the fact that you are an exceptional human being. And I'm going to say that publicly. You are an exceptional human being. You are a shining light in this world, and you leave positivity everywhere you go. That is why so many people piped up, because those are all people who you've impacted in a positive way. And like I said, I'm just thankful to have you as a friend. I'm thankful to be able to do this show with you and get that little bit of VJ light every single week.
And you know what's interesting is when I reposted it, they don't know you. Right? Some people know me, but they know me online. They don't really know me. But my sister went on there and she said, I bet I would like getting to know you. I'm like, you don't even know him. Like, he's my friend.
Stay away from my friends. It's like high school all over again.
But, you or I or whoever it is gets instant credibility by whoever's putting that out there.
Yeah.
Right? So somebody puts you out there and says, hey, that's, I'm not saying, but hey, you need to buy this, right? Because I said so. They believe you, right? You need to meet my friend, Vijay, right? He's a new citizen. He just did this. He just went through the process. And I don't know how many comments came on mine. I think that there was like 15 or 20 people that don't even know you. So regardless of what it is or who it is, right? I mean, kudos to you. But I just realized how that influence does make a difference. Right. Because if we use you because of the post, if it was a negative connotation and somebody said, hey, look at this just happened or whatever too, right? Then all the haters come and that influence, there can be positive or negative influence in that situation too.
Right. Yeah. You guys got me really emotional right now, but I have to share something. Please don't mind. I have a friend here. His name is Matt. Right. So we go to his house and we do all these different things from the church and whatnot. Right. So there was a young kid. I'm originally from India, guys. You all know that already big time. So I'm originally from India. So this brown skinned dude, who's this guy? Right. And you all know that. And so we were on a walk in his acreage in Boston. We were walking and there's this young kid. He is like 3 or 4 or 5-year-old kid and blue eyed, white kid, right? I never bring any of this conversation, but like you got me really emotional. And Matt and I, we were walking on the acreage, and this kid asked, like, "Hey, are you both brothers?" I mean, Matt is like the proper Canadian from Vancouver, British Columbia. He's proper Canadian guy, right? He's born here, brought up here, and he said the kid asked, like, "Are you both brothers?" And Matt responded saying, like, "Yeah, we are brothers from different mothers."
Yeah,
that's what he said. It stuck with me for a long time. I still repeat it. So Colin and Kelly, you're my brothers from different mothers, but I so believe it. Colin, I texted that same thing when I spoke to you as well. So thank you for you cannot get away with appreciating me. You are so much more valuable. I appreciated your brothers from different mothers. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's so funny. I'm trying to think of, so I did an interview a long time ago with Jack Schaefer, and he talked about a principle, and I'm trying to figure that out. And as soon as I do figure that out, we'll talk about it really briefly. But basically, the principle itself was talking about how in FBI interrogations, you can tell, like, what they would do is they would sit across the table from an agent or from the perpetrator, and they would tell him something like, my partner can spot lies 1,000 ways away. You'll see it. When he comes in here, you'll lie and he will just know, right? And I forget the prince. Like I said, I'm going to figure this out before this episode is done. But he would say, then his partner would come in. They would know this. They would know that was what was said. And the moment that the guy said, I didn't do it, the guy would slam his hand on the table and say, you're lying, I can tell. And then the guy would be like, oh shit, like, how did you know? Right? But it worked. Like, it works so well. And what it was talking about was essentially, man, I gotta think of the principle as soon as I find it. I'm gonna drop out just for a second here. I'm gonna figure out what that is. We're gonna come back to it. But it's so powerful. And what it was kind of talking about was the power of essentially of influencing someone or telling somebody something that then has to be disproved, right? It's like, we know for a fact that not everybody can tell a lie, but by simply saying this about my friend is the best business developer in the world. My friend makes the largest manufacturing company for vac trucks in the world. Someone then, that is like the set piece of knowledge, and then someone has to disprove it. And it's much harder to disprove it than it is to just accept what was said. And I think that that's truly the power of telling somebody or recommending something to somebody, because once it's been recommended, it's much harder to essentially pull that back and have a different opinion.
100%. I was just looking at in terms of like when you become Kelly Kennedy, when you become Colin Harms, when you become Vijayan Swamin, and the reason I'm mentioning our names is because we're not working for anybody, but at some point along the way, we start working for ourselves, right? I mean, I started working for Vijayan Swaminathan and you, Kelly Kennedy, and Colin Harms, right? So we become directly or indirectly employees of our names. You like it or not, that's what it's going to happen. So what is a business, guys? I just took the definition of what is a business, right? A business is a living system designed to solve meaningful problems for people in a way that is sustainable, valuable, and repeatable. And what is an influencer? An influencer is someone whose words, presence, or example moves others towards action, belief, or change. That's the definition, right? Somewhere along the way, there's like, because when so many people are reacting to it, it kind of gets to your head. And so the way I try to process all this is like, are you here to be seen, or are you here to see others, right? So what's difference are you making? So if you can spend time in seeing through others, put yourself in others' shoes, and then write the thoughtful posts. I mean, Kelly recently mentioned about relatable posts.
Yes.
That's why those posts work, actually, because you're seeing through the lens of others.
Yeah.
So if you can be that shining light for others, and people will definitely like probably buy your product. Maybe that's the end result. But like end of the day, I think that is a great influencer. I love those kind of influencing, if that is the right word. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, like one of the things that I think holds people back, and I know has held me back, is that everything, I'm a perfectionist and I'm recovering. I am recovering perfectionist, but I still struggle with perfectionism. And there's been many times where I chose not to do something because I felt I couldn't do it to the level that I would be proud of myself, just due to my level of perfectionism. And it's a struggle. But here's the funny thing about connecting with people, and something that I'm realizing as I go. And I actually talked about this, yesterday in my coaching class, where I was talking about how we don't relate with perfect. And it's so funny because everybody's trying to be perfect, but none of us relate with perfect because none of us are perfect. We still misspell stuff. We misspeak. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been on a show like this and I mush mouth like crazy. My words aren't working that day, whatever, right? But that's the funny thing. We're all human. We're all imperfect humans. And the more imperfect we are, actually, the more relatable we are. Yeah. So having the bravery to just show up as you are, mistakes and all, imperfections and all, misspellings and all, but do it as you, not as a robot, not as a perfect AI, but as you, as a human, as Colin Harms, as Vijay, as Kelly, trying to figure out how do we fit in this world. If you can do this in a way that is you, imperfect or not, you're actually going to be more relatable. And I would argue that those posts are going to do better than anything you create with an AI.
Yeah, I would agree. So when I researched this and I was looking at it, it actually helps me every time we do something like this. Obviously, it helps us as well as we reflect or in retrospect. But a couple of things like I put in there, like, should I be an influencer? That type of thing, just investigating. And it came back with a couple of brand pillars, right, on myself, which I'll use. And you guys, I'd like you to chime in on it. It says you're an entrepreneur and a business builder. You're a real estate expert. I wouldn't go expert, but real estate expert, Sutton Group and Property DNA, HVAC manufacturer with Hypervac, Blue Sky Thinking leader, Authentic Hustle podcast co-host, Catalyst Club visionary. Now I know why I'm so tired at night. I got it. I did. I didn't. But it gave me a core message. You can build anything if you think differently, act boldly, and show up consistently.
Yeah.
Right. So if I look at those things where I think sometimes I'm like, I use the phrase often, I don't remember the last time I was bored. Right. Like I really don't. Like there's so many things going on. Like maybe it was the third grade or whatever it was. Right.
That's actually a really good point. I haven't even thought about the last time I was bored, but I can't think of it either.
Right. Because you can make yourself bored. Yeah. Right? Or mentally. But then it came down as, who do I influence? Right. Entrepreneurs looking to scale. Realtors ready to lead, trade/business owners building real businesses, creators balancing business and authenticity, investors and operators wanting clarity and the edge. How do I serve them? Real talk, building and scaling, playbooks behind the scenes, like I'm doing on the Catalyst today, a playbook, live streams, workshops, podcast, conversations. Yesterday, somebody had texted me, then he texted me again, then texted me again. And I said, sorry, I'll call you later. And then when I did, I felt a need to tell him why I couldn't respond to him at the time. So I just laid down a little track of here's what I was doing. And then when I looked at it, when I'm in the moment and when I'm doing, I guess, what I'm called to do, I don't notice that I'm doing it. I'm just doing it. And then when I read these things of, okay, what am I involved in on a day-to-day basis, or how can I be an influence to other people aspiring to be that or needing help or that type of thing? Yeah. And I'm like, holy crap, there's a lot going on.
Yes.
So that ties in really strongly to influencing or the term influencer, right? It hits deep.
Well, and I think maybe the takeaway from this too is that anybody can be an influencer. You don't have to have 1 million followers to influence people. You, as a human, you have the power of influencing people. I found the definition. So the effect that I was talking about is called the primacy effect. And I have to shout out Dr. Jack Schafer, the author of The Like Switch. It is one of my favorite books of all time. And I've had the pleasure of interviewing him not once, but twice. And just a gem of a human and incredible stories every time. But the primacy effect says this: people remember the first thing they hear about a person or topic far more strongly than anything that comes later. Spontaneous trait transference says that the traits you describe in others get unconsciously linked back to you by your audience. So when you first describe someone as honest, smart, or lazy, that trait sticks in your listener's mind about that person and about you. So it does kind of come down to what you say about others can bounce off them and come back to you. So if you're talking shit about people are going to feel the same way about you. And if you are constantly uplifting people around you, motivating people, guess what? It bounces right back on you. And why does this matter big time in brand building? Okay, here's the deal. So in brand building, your audience anchors their entire perception of you on what they hear first. And that is the primacy effect. If you open with negativity, arrogance, or gossip, you're toast. If you open with positivity, clarity, or value, they'll stick with your brand forever. Words about others also shape you. That's spontaneous trait transference. And in your posts, videos, pitches, if they slam competitors or talk trash, people feel that you're untrustworthy. If you praise, respect, and highlight greatness, they trust you more and see your brand as credible, confident, and safe. And lastly, people buy feelings. Your brand is not just the logo or your offer. It's the feelings that people attach to you. How you speak about others, especially first, determines if your brand feels trustworthy, authoritative, or petty and insecure.
Well, go ahead, VJ.
No, you have a long one. I'll
no, you go. You go. Yours. We've got our clock's ticking, and yours is probably better than mine.
No, it's not always. I just want to bring Elon. I don't know. You hate him or love him. There are only two camps right now. But something cannot be unnoticed about Elon is his story, right? I mean, his whole story. He was born in South Africa. He moved to Canada. Then he moved to the United States. So when he moved to the United States for his Stanford to study in Stanford or whatnot. So all he had was $2,000 in his pocket and 2 suitcases full of books. That's his story, right? And today he's the richest man in the world. Money, yes, of course, like 300, 400 billion worth and whatnot. So the reason I mention him is because I've been following him on Twitter or otherwise when he was around 20, 25 million followers. Today he has, we're talking about influencer here. So today he has close to 220 million followers.
Oh, wow.
Right? So you hate him, love him, that's fine. But why does he have 220 million followers? That is something I want to ask. And Tesla, the company, some lessons learned from here is Tesla doesn't spend any advertising dollars on any. Have you seen a Tesla ad on a TV? Probably not.
I've never seen.
Right. That. So all Tesla marketing is by the word of mouth. People buy from people, right? So that's a perfect example of that. And all their marketing is done in social media, right? Yeah. Elon writes a post and the Tesla community writes a post. Similar to what we're doing with the Catalyst Club, right? The Catalyst community can come together as a movement, like you said earlier, Kelly. That's what happens. It's a network effect. That's what is happened with Tesla. So that's a classic case of an influencer, business owner as an influencer who has made the largest impact. And what did he do with that kind of an impact? He brought free speech. He bought Twitter for $44 billion and whatnot. So just a good use case and a case study for anyone looking to be an influencer. Just want to share that.
Yeah.
Colin, end us off, buddy.
Well, that was way better. I was going to say... I'm always in the shallow end of the pool. Like, it's like, oh, look at Colin. What's he doing over there? Oh, yeah. VJ just dives right into the deep end head first. Fantastic. I was just going to say, as far as brand recognition and influencing, it's like I look at what Kelly's wearing. He's obviously wearing the hyper stuff. But when I look at it, I guess I look at it differently. Maybe is I'm not. It looks like he has credibility. What he's wearing right there, right? It looks professional. It looks sharp. It looks really good. He's matching the hat, the hoodie, but the branding, the logo, everything ties in neatly. So I think we have a reputation there that people buy into it. Not once would somebody following the show probably not go, oh, geez, that's a company that makes air duct equipment, trucks, trailers, and accessories, right? But on the other part is it immediately people will recognize that name if they saw it again. Right. And it doesn't matter whatever we're wearing. Right.
Yeah.
And there's an influence there. And by you wearing it, it brings that reputation to it as well.
Well, and I think you have to think about why you wear something like this. Right. I don't just wear this because you've sponsored my show for such a long time. I wear this because I love you as a person.
Right.
I wear this because it was Hypervac who's gotten behind every initiative that I've ever taken on and didn't just get behind it, got back behind it 100%. It's Hypervac who sent my kid his very first plushie toy, which he absolutely loves, Colin, by the way. I had a picture of you and your family on my fridge on my fridge at Christmas time, my very first year into the business development podcast. So to me, you're right. To the world, Hypervac is, North America's leading vac truck manufacturer. But to me, it's been the support. It's been the support and kindness and friendship that I never knew I needed. And so I think that's the other thing you have to remember about brands is that it's not just a product and service. Sometimes it's the meaning behind it and the initiatives they get behind.
Well, we went deep today.
This was episode 20.
20. It's deep. It's 20.
It was good. Well, that is episode 20, everybody. We appreciate you joining us every week, and we encourage you to come back, because as good as it's probably better for us maybe than it is for you. I'm hoping it's good for you, but it's great. It's great for us. I hope that came out right. But we mean it. We love having you listen. We love having you follow. As we've said before, if there's somebody that would love to be a guest on our show, we would love for that as well. Just reach out. And also any topics, that type of thing that strike a chord with you. If we feel qualified to address it or speak to it, we will. If we don't, we'll be honest with you and tell you we have no idea what to say to that.
Yeah. We don't like to speak out of our ass on this show. So we do like to talk to things we understand. I think today was such a great example of that, as we've all kind of gone down this path and we know a little something about it, and it makes a big difference. So you guys have seen a lot of change in this show, really, from like point go to where we are today, just simple 20 episodes. It's a lot of different show, and we're always looking on how we can do it better. Also, you can find us on YouTube. So for those of you who like this show on live, but maybe the sound quality, it's live, right? We're not producing it. It's just out there. We do actually produce this show and put it on YouTube. And so please do hop on over to YouTube. If you want to hear any of the past 20 episodes, they're all there. VJ also has them set up on ah.live, which is our beautiful website. So do check that out as well. If you just want to find a place to find it all together or send any information through, suggest topics, you can actually, I believe, also submit to be a guest on ah. That's kind of where we're at. We're at YouTube. We're there. We're here. But nonetheless, we appreciate you immensely. And until next time, you've been listening to Authentic Hustle.
Cheers.
See you later.
Hustlers.